Hello, my name is Covrig, and I teach at Andrews University in the Department of Leadership. And I'd like to share with you a course that we have coming up. It's summer 2019. It's a course on ethical leadership and organizational integrity. And this is my invitation to you, just to give you a taste of what we're going to talk about. Who made you judge? It will be one of our topics. And we look at the life of Moses. And Moses is quite a figure in the Old Testament, and this is a story told of him in Exodus, probably told by himself. He probably wrote Exodus. One day it says, after Moses had grown up, he's probably in his 40s, he went out and to where his own people were and watched them at their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. Looking this way and that and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. The next day, he went out and saw two Hebrews fighting. He asked the one in the wrong, "Why are you hitting your fellow Hebrew?" The man said to him, "Who made you ruler and judge over us? Are you thinking of killing me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid and thought, what I did must have become known. And when Pharaoh heard this, he tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in Midian, where he sat down by a well. Here is a powerful passage of Scripture that asks us deeply what went wrong. What I thought would be a moment of deliverance and leadership turned out to be a moment of failure, immorality, illegal even, and has led to disaster. And so in this story, we try to unpack what went wrong and look at it and use it to guide us into thinking about moral leadership and how we can improve our own moral leadership and, even more importantly, the moral leadership of others. So if we fast forward about 40 years in Moses' experience, we come to Exodus 18, and this is what the passage says. It says, on the next day, Moses took his seat to serve as judge for the people, and they stood around him from morning until evening. It's kind of interesting, the next day. Well, it wasn't the next day. It was 40 years later this has occurred. But what was the difference? What made the difference between Moses when he had grown up, one of the best trained in all of Egypt, and where he went and got true training deep within his experience in the desert and the blowing sands and with the sheep and with Midian and his wife and his kids? That training led him to a deeper experience of moral leadership, one that made him winsome to work with, made him somebody that people wanted to come and ask him for his advice. And so I want to invite you to come on this journey with me and learn from others on how to lead. This is what I think is the key in Moses' experience, and this is what can be a key in your experience. In fact, we're told in this passage of Exodus 18, when his father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing, even though it was good then, he even had more suggestions. What are you doing is not good. And he gave him advice on how to divide up the people. And guess what? This time, Moses wasn't a hothead. He decided to listen. And Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything he said. He chose capable men from all Israel and made them leaders of the people, officials over thousands, hundreds, 50s, and 10s, and they served as judges for the people at all times. The difficult cases they brought to Moses, but the simple ones they decided themselves. And so I want to invite you to this class, and in ethical leadership and organizational integrity, we're going to learn to listen. We're going to learn to listen to our moral histories, to our failures. What went wrong? Why do you think it went well? What can you learn from your past experiences, and what is that teaching you as a moral leader today? We're going to learn by reading. I got some excellent reading I've collected over the years. of teaching ethics. And so we're going to learn by reading what others can give us new ideas, new ways of looking at it. I never thought of that. And that will help us change from self-righteous leaders to true moral leaders. And we're going to listen to others through posts. We're going to have difficult topics that we're going to talk about, and Donald Trump and his leadership and what we can learn from it, and ancient leadership like King Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel and Joseph, and modern research on leadership, and learn and debate on these topics. The other thing we'll learn from is everybody's going to do a little mentoring project where you mentor somebody else who you think you can help, and in a gentle and clear way guide them. And once again, this course is available for 1, 2, or 3 credits, and it's online, which means you can take it in your pajamas, or you can take it if you're on a 2-week road trip. And because it's flexible, 1 or 2 or 3 credits, you can actually customize the course and maybe even slip out of the course for 1 or 2 weeks and slip back in and still accomplish your goal of some credits. If you're an AAU graduate student, got good news. You can just apply online at Registration Central. If you're not an Andrews University graduate student, but you have a bachelor's degree and you want to come and take the course, just email us at leader@andrews.edu and we'll get you settled. I want to thank you for listening to this invitation, and I hope you can join us. I love teaching ethics. I've learned a lot. I've had my periods of self-righteousness, and I want to make ethics attractive to you. It's good to be ethical. It's not restrictive. It's living in the light of God's love and living in His ever in growing learning process, how we can be better to each other and better to those around us. So come and join me. Ethical Leadership Lead 645, summer 2019. I'd love to take you on this journey. Thanks for joining me.